Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa Maggio-Harelson, and I am in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to Success Stories of people who are building businesses from their home. And it could be a little side hustle for people. It could be something that they're actually doing full time. But truly, this is the business of the 21st century. As I mentioned, I live here in Phoenix. I'm going to share a little bit about me, and then you're going to meet some extraordinary people that probably felt they were pretty ordinary at one time, but they're doing extraordinary things in this world. And I just, today is Earth Day. And, I think about our Earth, our Mother Earth, and just how vulnerable the Earth is today, how the universe and even people, right? Health-wise, financially, just so much going on in this universe. And really, as part of Earth Day, how serendipitous that we are here all together to share our stories, share from our heart what we have found that truly has been something that for me has transformed my life and my family's life forever. And I'm just so happy that I created a little side hustle because it's life-changing. A little bit about my background. I'm a former television news reporter and anchor. I worked in the broadcast industry for almost 20 years, 17. And I left that industry many years ago when my children were really little. They're now 18 and almost 21. And we're all working from home, whether it's school or my husband's job, and we're all sharing space. So I've asked them, please don't come into the kitchen for 30 minutes. But this is the fun part about actually having a business from home. And is just, I did this because I wanted to be home with my kids. And I teach yoga today. And my little side hustle I learned about from one of my yoga students 8 years ago. And when I saw what the company that I'm partnered with had a breakthrough technology that was all about health and well-being, I jumped on board and saw the compelling science associated with it and saw the quality of people and the integrity of the company. It was something that I knew that I was going to do and share with people I knew, loved, and cared about. And little did I know that it would replace the income that I ever made as a television news reporter and anchor, and that it would be leveraged income that would happen each and every month as I continued to build a team and to have people in my life that are just extraordinary. So that's just a little bit about me. I might share a little more later, but I want to get right to Tonyas Sheldon in Meridian, Idaho. Who is a mother of two beautiful teenagers. She is a wife. She was worked in the retail industry as well as the marketing industry, and was a stay-at-home mom when this side hustle came her way. So I just want Tanya to share a little bit about, why you do what you do, and what was it that made you want to do something like this? And are you glad you did?
Hi, everybody. And for those that are watching the playback, I'm just so proud of you for just being open enough to listen to this information. And I hope it can bless you and plant a seed in you for the hope and desire that you have to change your life. Yes, so happy that I did this. And my journey with home-based business started when I was in college. And I'll make it quick, but it's impossible not to talk about that. But it was the person that invited me to take a look at what they were doing and how they did it, and it made me feel so good. That was like the first thing implanted in me that really made me to continue to look at home-based businesses throughout my life. I have done 8. I'm in my 8th company. I've found my home because I never knew what to look for before. No one had ever educated me on looking for timing, looking at the company, looking at trends, looking at the compensation plan. I didn't know, I wasn't savvy enough to look at any of that. All I knew was I had this burning desire in my heart to just be something, have confidence, to make a difference, to change people's lives, and to just really make an impact. And I knew early on enough that You couldn't come into something like this with a sales mentality. You had to come into something like this with a servant's heart mentality. It's about helping people, about just really meeting people where they're at and offering a solution. And my current company I'm with, it came into my life in 2011. I was very open. I was a stay-at-home mom. I'd been a stay-at-home mom for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And when I went from being corporate America to stay at home, the first year was like the most depressing year of my life. Like I literally was depressed because suddenly I didn't know who I was. I didn't have a job title that someone else gave me. So now I was searching for that next step, and I was searching for that title again, I guess. And being a mom and a wife was great, but I knew that there was something more for me outside of those roles. So I was always open to opportunity. I was a girl that said yes to go to any presentation you had. And I was always interested in the person presenting. How did they get there? How did they build their confidence? What were they making? How was it enhancing their life? And when I said yes to having a home-based business for the 8th time, I was at a point in my life where my desire for change was so strong. I was extremely coachable. I was going to do whatever it took to finally figure out everything that I had within me and to bring it to the surface. So I got in full of fear. Like I basically told people they could tell me no before I even told them what I had my hands on. I was so afraid, but I wanted, we were doing okay, my husband and I, but there was never more money at the end of the month. There was always more month at the end of the money. And I just wanted to bring something into our home. But I thought, well, what could I find where I can still work from home, make a pretty decent income, and have some flexibility with my kids? And it just didn't exist. Working for someone else, that checklist did not exist. I had to create it on my own, and that's why I was always open. And so my desire was so strong. I was completely coachable. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to say it. Tell me what to show people. And I was given that system. And now today, 8.5 years later, when I got into this current home-based business, a week later, my husband lost his job. And he got severance, and so we were okay. But we did not have a plan B. If he had not had severance, I don't know what we would have done. But he got severance. And then we moved to Idaho from Colorado. And now 8.5 years later, we find ourselves in a position with this economy that my husband was laid off. And our plan B that I started in 2011 is our complete saving grace. We would be in so much hurt if we did not have this business that I established going into full of fear and just worked through it. And now it's what's saving our family. It's what is giving my husband the time that he needs and that he deserves to find that next chapter that he'll enjoy, that will be good for him, instead of having to go find a job that he won't even like, probably won't make a lot of money with. He has the time. And that's because I've created this leveraged income by helping people. So glad I said yes. It's been such a huge blessing. And I know it could be a huge blessing in so many people's lives. You just have to let your guard down and let go of what you think it is and allow someone to properly educate you and then make the decision.
Tanya, that was beautiful. I love your story. And I had tears in my eyes just because I could feel your passion and I can feel your heart on all of this. And I'm happy that you said yes, because you did. I know you. I would never know you if it weren't for this. So how incredible. Our world is actually very small, especially now with Zoom. So that's huge. Thank you so much. And we may be circling back around to you, but right now we're going to go up to Canada. And we're going to go to Edmonton, Alberta area, or Sherwood Park area in Alberta, to Danny Stevenson. Danny is a wonderful mom. She is a horse lover. She's a mom of identical twin young men who are now grown and launched. I love that. She is a horse lover. She has a horse. And I love seeing you on that horse. You were born to be on a horse, I know. And she's worked in sales in the beauty industry, as well as now also calls it consumer packaging goods as well. And and then created this side hustle. I met Danny probably about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And at that point in her life, she was like, I need something. So has that story changed at all for you? And how has this been for you? And why did you do this?
Well, thanks, Marissa. It's wonderful to be a part of this panel today. Thank you for asking me. I love to talk and I love to share my story. I think we all have something so different to offer and to understand. Like, I know I appreciate hearing other people's struggles because then I know I'm kind of normal. You know, what I'm going through is very normal. To back it up a bit, yes, because we met 6 years ago when I was looking for something. Now, what brought me to that point of looking for something was I've always worked in sales and distribution sales. I love sales. I've always had kind of that entrepreneurial mind because, you know, even then it was commission based. So I know I work harder, I got paid more, right? And I worked in the professional beauty industry, which I absolutely loved. I loved it. And I left that with my twin boys. It was too hard to do traveling. Then I started to work in an advertising, selling advertising for a local paper. Well, I love that too. I love meeting people, but I was blindsided one day in 2009, right? We all remember 2009, and I was laid off, and that paper collapsed, and I didn't see this coming. I didn't know what to do, and not only that, but I had a non-compete clause where I wasn't allowed to work in that industry for another media type outlet for a year. Otherwise, I would have lost my subsidy package. So I had to reinvent myself. So I went to work for a pet food company. I love animals. You were saying I'm all about the horses and the dogs and everything. And it was a wonderful fit, again, because it was in my passions. But unfortunately, that company also had financial problems. And again, I found myself without a job. So I don't know if anyone out there, you know, if you're watching this on recording or seeing this now, you know, and just make a comment. If you've ever lost a job or been blindsided or something has happened that takes away your career instantly and your income, that hurts. And it can like set you right back. It's like a gut punch. And that's what happened to me twice in a row. So I was so fearful. I was so afraid. Actually, I called it my midlife career crisis. And I was so afraid to go back and work for someone else because I thought I will work my butt off again, only to have it all taken out from underneath me. And that was a huge fear. So I had my eyes open. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. But I knew I needed to take control of my life and control of my income, and nobody was going to lay me off again. Nobody was going to take my income away from me. So when I met you, Marissa, and this company that we've partnered up together in, it all lined up for me. I mean, with all my past passions of beauty and animals and marketing and sales and people. And it was the craziest thing. It was, you know, I had looked at other companies and nothing was sitting with me, right? Nothing was sitting. But when I saw this company we're with, it was like every cell in my body was on fire. I was all tingly. And I just knew I found what was going to work for me. So like Tanya was saying, you have to find what works for you and do the research. And I did the research, and I knew from my experience about timing and having products that people need and you know, being ahead of the curve and category creating, and all these things lined up for me. So for me, it was beautiful. And by doing this, I was able to start on a side hustle, started just part-time, still then went to work in consumer packaged goods. So that's like your products that you're purchasing at the stores, right? I repped a few different beauty lines and things like that, but continue to build this on the side. And we never know when we're going to need this, and life happens. And I am so fortunate because my life happened, and boom, there's been some big changes. I'm separated. I'm now, a single person income again. And I am so grateful that I've built this up to a point that I have, this income coming in that's replacing my full-time position, and I'm okay. And I'm loving it, what I do. So I encourage anyone out there, to check out what's going on. Start a little bit slowly on the side. You never know what it can grow into. And, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for letting me tell my story.
Oh, I just love your energy. I just want to give you a big hug, Danny.
Oh, I so want a hug. I'm isolating alone.
I'm sending you the biggest hug. I just love your energy and I love your story. And I think so many people can relate. I mean, comment, please. Can you relate to this, right? And you dug the well before you were thirsty. That is absolutely phenomenal. You're a smart businesswoman, you are. Aw. So Tom Spaniel, I'm going to go now to Minnesota. Whoa, St. Cloud, Minnesota. A lot different weather than Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma. Start singing here in a minute. So Tom was an elementary school teacher. He was also a baseball and a football coach. And he now runs technology, actually, for a software company for landlords and for property managers. He's also extremely athletic. I've seen him do handstands and walking on his hands and backflips and all kinds of things. He's a very activated individual. And oh, thank you, Tom. So why did you say yes to having a side hustle? You're working another job. You have family. You have a wife, and why?
Yeah, well, it's funny you bring up the jumping off things and whatnot. That's just been me from, ever since being a really young kid and growing up. And I, as you get to go through school, and then I went to college and I decided to be a teacher. And that was really only because I wanted to coach, and I didn't know what else I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to sit in a cubicle or do some of these other, businessy jobs where I thought you just sat all day, because I can't sit. I need to run and jump off things, right? So part of literally being a teacher was like, okay, my classroom's bigger than a cubicle. This sounds like a good thing I can get into. I like coaching. But the whole time, so I taught for 3 years, and the whole time that I was doing it, I liked being with the kids a lot, and I loved the coaching aspect and working with people in that regard. But I just knew I didn't want to do it until I was 60. I knew I didn't want to do it all my life. I had no idea how I would get out of it, though. A lot of me thought maybe I'll become a college coach, because then in my mind, I thought that would mean a little bit more freedom from, my elementary schedule, where I was very much so told when I had to be there and when I could leave and when I could use the restroom and when I could eat lunch. And I did not like that. That's just really not for me. And I still did it for 3 years just because, I got into it and I didn't know what else to do. So when this came along, that's exactly what I saw it for, as a way that I can just be me and be free. As one of our mutual friends say, free range human. And that's like, I saw that, and I knew I wanted to, work from home and work on my own and set my own schedule and, wake up one time when I want to. I still probably wake up just as early, but now it feels better because it's my choice. I just really wanted choices in life, and that's really what this has given me. And it was just always there. Yeah, it was really always there deep down. And I just knew if I keep thinking about it, honestly, it would come around, and it did. And then instead of overthinking when it came around, we really went for it, because my wife is the same way. And that was really the key, that as soon as we saw something, we dove in, head first, as we always do. And we really went for it. And that was really our key. Rather than kind of dipping the toes in, it was, let's do this. Let's learn from people who have been super successful. And let's, completely change our lives. And we've been fortunate to do that. I feel like we've always done things that are against the norm. A lot of our kids are ultra planted, or a lot of our friends here are ultra planted. They have kids, they have a house, and we're 30 and no kids. We'd still rent because we just love to travel. But working from home, having a home-based business has allowed us to do that, because we can work from wherever we are now. And that's really special. And the things we're even able to try to think about, it's realistic that we could work in a different country even next year. Those are conversations we have. And that was it's so far out of the realm of what we used to do, but this has really just opened our minds up to a lot of different possibilities, and all the people that we're surrounded with have opened our minds up to new possibilities. And that's for me, what has been the best part of this is the network, the group we're a part of, is never ending with how amazing it is, and the people that you get surrounded with, and what that can do for all of your life. Alyssa, my wife, is honestly, she knows she's a much better nurse now, having been a part of this company and being surrounded by the people that she is. So we're just super grateful that we did say yes, that we chose to dive in, and we're grateful for all of you and the life we're living now.
For some reason, maybe it's just because I've seen you play like a kid that I thought you had kids.
No kids yet.
So, but look at the life that you are creating with your wife, whether you end up having children in the future or not. Look at what you now have established that will give you the choices to be a stay or be at home dad if you decide to be at home dad. And more people, of course, our world is changing, and it will never be the same as to what it was a couple of months ago, right? We know that. So the personal growth aspect, Tom, it looks like that has been just incredible for you.
Yeah, no, it really has. When I was 25 and we started all of this, that I didn't even know, I'd never really read books back then. And then I just dove into everything. And this company really introduced me to personal growth and, going to different seminars and listening to people. And it's changed everything I've done. Even the software company that I own now, that just started a few years ago, and that came from all the skills that I've gained through this, and just the ability to speak with people, and that all came from this. I owe everything back to starting this side hustle and the things that you can learn along the way with it.
Before we get to our final guest, I just want to ask you, if someone says, "Well, can I do it?" Can they do it, Tom? Like, what does it require to do?
Oh yeah, I mean it's simple. It's a simple business. It's not always easy, but it's very simple. It's a lot of follow the leader. It's a lot of just do exactly what the people that you want to emulate and you want to be like them. Do what they've done, and you'll get what they've got. And it's just follow the steps and be consistent, and that's really all it is. And just love on people. That was always my wife and I from the start. Her being a nurse and me being a teacher. Those are careers where we're trying to help people, and this was just a different way of helping as many people as we could. So it's not just possible, it's very doable. Yes, it's easy. I mean, simple.
Yes. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for sharing all of that wisdom. So nice to hear. And you're young, and I love that. So, and more, Tom, I know I'm just thinking of like when we talk about the side hustle, the business from home, really, what would you say to people that might be considering doing something like this today? Maybe why it's so important.
I say heck yes today, but for real, just with everything that is going on, it is I believe so important, and I'm so grateful that we have a side business, like you say, building before you really need it, and that's been our case. So today there is no better time. Everyone is getting more used to working from home. Everyone is getting more used to doing things online like this, and having a home-based business. This is such a good time to succeed in it. Because there's so many good tools to do it now. It's not just literally knocking on doors like people used to have to do, or sending out mailers. There's just so many good tools. The internet is such a blessing in that way, that we can literally do business around the world from home or for wherever you want to be. So I think it's such a good time. Yes, right from the phone. It's such a good time to do a home-based business, and it just makes so much sense. And that's exactly where the whole world is heading. There's in the tech industry that I'm in, a lot of the talk out of Silicon Valley and everything is like, hey, everyone, see this whole coronavirus pandemic is proof that people don't really need to be working in offices anymore. So most jobs are going to be going towards more like home-based work. So it's a very good time to just get into home-based businesses.
Thank you, Tom, so much for that. Okay, now we're going to go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where we're going to meet Nikki Elsing, who I just love, is like a sister to me. We call each other Doll. Hi, Doll. And Nikki worked at a heart hospital as a dietitian. She has a huge nutrition background. She has spoken all over television airwaves to really educate people about nutrition. She is a mom of 2 wonderful children. She is a wife of Mitch, soon to be. She is just really a leader in this profession. And so, Nikki, you know, what is a young lady like you doing in a home-based business like this?
Well, thank you, Marissa, so much. You guys, I absolutely love what everyone has said already. And, you know, working in healthcare for years, I also had looking at just different ways to be able to expand my reach and to have a greater impact on the most people that I could. And I laugh because when Tanya's talking about how open she was to business and having a home business for years, I was completely the opposite, where nothing interested me. And I was trying to sit there and think about it while she was talking. And I think what was lacking in the other businesses that I had looked at was maybe authenticity, where I just really didn't feel like it was the best fit for me, or that I belonged with, you know, the group of people that were doing other things. And so looking at now and knowing 9 years later in an organization that I have just totally grown in, I know that you guys were talking about personal growth, and I thought I was okay just where I was, and the personal growth that I've achieved myself, and I know that every day I'm continuing to grow, has been huge. But you know, being able to think outside the box and dream big, and knowing that anything is possible without having that person telling you what to do all the time, or like Tom said, having to show up at a certain time or go to the bathroom or eat lunch at a certain time, having that flexibility. And, you know, I have teenagers now, and one of my favorite things is I also just got myself to work right away when I found a place that I was comfortable in, a group of people that I was comfortable in, and just got to work so that I was able to put in the time that was needed to be able to build an organization. And now I have the flexibility to do more based on our family's schedule and what's going on with our family, and what events that we have going on. And it's just been something that's been just a treat to me. And knowing that we can do this anywhere is tremendous. And I'm laughing now as I'm looking at you guys. I see that my internet connection is unstable. And that is one of the hardest things to deal with right now, I feel, as having a home-based business, especially when you lack the ability to have people come in your home and fix it, right? And so I'm doing the best we can with our internet connection that way, so I apologize. But being able to have that example as your children, for your children, and have them go, oh yeah, I know who that is. Oh yeah, I know who that is. And having this relationship that they get to have a piece of all of these people that I get to have in my life. And I think that's really cool. And a lot of times I feel like traditional business, there's so much competition or so much of distancing yourself from other people. And with our profession, we just get to help each other. And the closer our relationships are with the more people, the better off we are. And so that has been such a breath of fresh air. And knowing that, you know, we have this security right now in a situation where maybe in the past we never did. You know, I know when I have been basically having a home-based business on its own, just that, for the last 6 years. And so I know when I quit my traditional job, my family, my parents were a little concerned. But honestly, you know, hearing from the conversations earlier, there is really not that security left anymore in a traditional job. And so being able to know that it's okay to have a couple sources of income, and knowing that, trying to predict the future, and knowing that, hey, you know what, it wouldn't hurt to have a couple sources of income going into the future, and having that security that way. And honestly, that has been such a blessing. So I also love what Tom said about getting up when you're done sleeping. I'm really good at doing that now too. So, and I think the rest of us on here that have already spoke are very good at the same. So,
It's
yeah,
the choices. It's the choices
yeah,
that people want and crave so much of, right?
absolutely. And I think like with Danny saying too, being open to it and willing to receive it and decide, if this is the vision that you see for yourself, and shop around and take a peek and look at what people have to offer, but check out the community also, because you can see so much in the community of people and the relationships they have and how they treat others, and really find that home for you. And I know that I'm definitely home and love it.
I feel the same way. As a former journalist, television news journalist, I had a health beat. I've always been into health and wellness, and I teach yoga, and I've been a practitioner of yoga for years and years. And so when I learned about the company that I joined, it just all meshed. It just flowed together. It was like, why wouldn't I do this? Because I know I'm going to take these products, and my kids and my husband as well, and I know I'm going to share them with people, or at least give them the education. I think some people feel like you have to buy, or you have to be sold to, and that's not what this is. It's the connection business. Do you want to talk a little bit about that at all? Why?
Yeah, and the thing too is, that's why I'm here. I needed to find a place that had research-backed products, and that's why I'm in the business that I'm in. Because as a healthcare professional, I needed the research to be able to be there to validate it, for me to put my name on it, for me to lecture about it, and chat with people and share this. That was the thing that caught my attention. And that's what brought me to the company that I've chosen. And I stay because the research continues to show amazing, amazing things, and having an amazing corporate staff. And also I stay because of the community. And really having that connection, not only with the people that you're doing the business with, but also that connection with the people that you're discussing options with. And, being listening and caring, and just having that connection with them, and really understanding that sometimes this isn't for everybody, and that's okay. But friendship always is. And now Danny, when she's talking about, isolating by herself, and that's hard, and people are looking for community right now. And if you're one of those that's looking for community, I've been on how many Zooms with Danny the last few days. I've been blessed to be able to be part of what she's discussing. And so it's just really nice to be able to have that group that you can connect with, while you're also trying to connect with others and build your friend circle, basically.
That's right. Digging the well before we're thirsty. Having that, it's just smart. It's smart to expand the financial portfolio, because no one could have predicted what is happening in this world today. And it has definitely shifted this universe for years and years. So thank you all for being on this panel, and for our guests participating and just learning. And if someone invited you to hear more, get back to them and let them give you more information, so that you can make an educated decision for your life. So thank you, everybody.